I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We would like to welcome you as part of our ConnexiCore family, and we have a great presentation in store for you today. Just for an FYI, we will be recording this call, so we will be making the presentation available to you, as well as the recording available to each of you after the call. We will be muting all callers and all attendees during the call. However, you will have ample opportunity to ask questions since we do have a Q&A button at the lower portion of your presentation screen, and you'll be able to ask those questions, and we will answer as many questions as we have time for after the presentation. Okay, so to cover our agenda today, we just want to talk about real quickly our presenters. Okay, who is ConnexiCore? What is ConnexiCore Cloud? And then finally, we're going to kick it off with a real-time demonstration and training session led by our Chief Pilot and Engineer, Curtis Marshall. Okay. So our presenters for today, my name is Glenn Johnson. I'm the Director of Operations here at ConnexiCore. We are joined today with none other than our founder, Frank Segarra, who is the CEO and founder of ConnexiCore, as well as Curtis Marshall, who is our Chief Pilot and instructor, as well as the owner of Altitude Imaging. Who is ConnexiCore? Well, a lot of folks are asking in the industry today, who is ConnexiCore? What do they do? Quite frankly, ConnexiCore is a nationwide commercial drone systems integrator. What does that mean? We're tying in data that is collected by drones, okay, and we are using it to deliver end-to-end business solutions by integrating that drone data with business systems in order to optimize business outcomes and help industries make the best decisions relative to their business processes. A lot of those industries include architectural engineering and construction firms, energy and utilities, insurance companies for damage assessments, agricultural for surveys, land crop analysis, etc., as well as public safety. Most notably, search and rescue efforts is a big part of that. At this point, what I'd like to do is introduce Frank Segarra, who will talk to us a little bit about the ConnexiCore Cloud and what it does for customers. Frank?
Yes, thank you, Glenn, and I want to thank everyone for joining our first of our webinar series for 2019, even though we're in 2018. And my name is Frank Segarra. So ConnexiCore Cloud is essentially a collaborative drone inspection platform, and there are a lot of platforms out there that are used for flight management, autonomous flight arrangements, as well as creating modeling and processing of hundreds, if not thousands, of images. What ConnexiCore Cloud is more of an inspection platform that helps to aggregate all of the data that we collect via drones, and this is in any industry, this is all image data. That data is uploaded to our cloud, which you can get access to, and then that data is available to folks who want to log into their accounts on ConnexiCore Cloud and start to analyze that data. A lot of that data will look very similar, but as you start to scroll through the data and you're looking at your inspections, you'll be able to zoom in on anomalies that may be not noticeable from the human eye or even from the image itself, and be able to annotate that data. ConnexiCore Cloud will allow you to sort the severity level of the anomalies that are in the data. So ultimately, the ConnexiCore Cloud is an inspection platform that's available to not only our pilot network out there, but our customers and their customers to be able to be a collaborative platform. One thing ConnexiCore would like to say is we want to differentiate ourselves from a lot of the other, we'll call it drone product aggregators. The aggregators that just bring in thousands of jobs and just want the cheapest price. We work with a pilot network that is very qualified. We interact with our pilots. One of our pilots today is our main presenter. He's got his own company. So I'm really proud to launch ConnexiCore Cloud moving into 2019. I have a great staff of team leaders and thought leaders from the industry. And at this point in time, I'm going to pass the baton over to Curtis Marshall. Curtis is our resident chief pilot, as well as our training expert on ConnexiCore Cloud. So without further ado, Curtis, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Frank. A brief introduction. My name is Curtis Marshall. I am a chief pilot for ConnexiCore and the resident expert, if you will, on ConnexiCore Cloud. First thing I want to talk about is how do you get to the cloud portal? Well, there's two ways to do it. The first way is to go to ConnexiCore.com, and then up here where it says ConnexiCore Cloud Login, you can select that, and it takes you to what would be the login screen. However, you could also just save this hyperlink address up here at the top, and then put that as a bookmark, like I have up here on the top here that you see, and then you can just select that and go straight to it. So with that being said, I'm just going to go straight to it. When you sign up or when you ask us to get into the system, we'll create a username and password for you, which is going to be your email address, and then a password will be automatically generated. Then once you get that, you can change it after you get into your account. So I'm going to log in. You're going to see this screen here. This screen shows you a world map to zoom in on an area. So you see there's 6 inspections here, 3 inspections there, 1 inspection there, and 1 inspection there. So if you're using it for your account personally, then you'll have inspections respective to where you do most of your work. So to click the screen to fit that view into your screen there, and you can see that there's it's the world map there. Anyway, so I'm going to click on the United States and then zoom into the group of inspections here respective to the United States. One of the things that we specialize in is that we're not just specific to one industry. We are multifaceted in the industries we cover, from roof inspections, cell tower inspections, infrastructure inspections, agriculture, you name it. You can ConnexiCore Cloud supports that. So think of ConnexiCore Cloud as your data management site to manage your data and to present the data to your clients. So one of the first inspections we're going to look at here is a roof inspection. This roof inspection, actually, I'm going to back up a little bit here. The roof inspection that I think is pretty important to look at is terracotta tile, because it's not very widely used, but the ones that this particular inspection shows some pretty unique features of it. So whenever you click on an inspection, you'll see that there's a group of images centrally located on the map. If you select those images, it'll zoom into that area of interest, and you can see that there's images that are grouped together. To deselect the grouping of them to see exactly where all these images are, you press the letter G, or in the top left-hand corner of this view screen, you can click it. Then you get to see, if you flew a flight path, it'd be, linear or horizontal or what have you, whichever way you flew your flight path. And then you can start just selecting images to view. So I'm going to select this image. Right now it's still in the map view here. And then this image here goes into the bottom right-hand corner. To change that, you can either select the letter T or select this little box function up here, and it'll flip the view, okay? To blow this up here, you can either scroll with your mouse, or you can select the bullseye button here, which will fit the large view into the screen, okay? So I'm just going to go back up to the top left. So for this specific roof inspection, you see that there's moss accumulation here, and that's what we're looking for, along with damaged tiles, displaced tiles, or what have you. So to annotate this or do what the customer has asked us to do for them, we're going to show this inspection. We're going to go through, start analyzing and get each image. And to do that, you create annotation boxes. To create an annotation box, you can select the letter D or select a pencil. And I've annotated this moss area right here. So I've already created a quick tab here called moss accumulation. If you want to, select something different, you can select. You can either select that there and hit the X, and then select the new annotation type. You can go to roof, and then there's some pre-selected ones here. You can add more if you choose. I'm going to select moss annotation again, or moss accumulation again, and select that there. Now, it's incumbent upon us to recognize that if we're resident experts in roof inspections or moss accumulation, then we could have some say-so over the severity. Severity level 1 is a low severity level. severity level 5 is a high severity level. And we've color coordinated that based on, caution to, okay, you need to look at this really quickly. However, some clients might want you to just go in and mark points of interest, so they can go in and they can qualify what the severity or the damage level is. And if that's the case, then there's this option here that's a question mark. It's called point of interest. So you select that there. Typically, you can write a comment here, but the purpose behind annotation management by having these boxes here is to really reduce your workload on having to write comments. You can get specific with comments if you want to, but it's entirely up to you. But I tend to just focus on my box being named what I want it to be named. So I'm going to create annotation. Now that's there. So you can see that there's moss accumulation on multiple concrete pillars, and then there's some moss accumulation here on the roof. So instead of having to go back in and create another annotation box, I'm going to select this box and hit Control-C. If you're a Mac user, it's Command-C, I think, or Alt-C for Windows users. So I'm going to select that box. I copy the box and the annotation and the severity level, and I'm going to select it there. Any other spots that I see, I can just click and move, and that's there. To get off of it, you hit Escape. If you need to readjust it, then you just select the box and readjust the width of it or the height of it. I'm going to readjust the height here a little bit to there. Okay. Then we'll select off of that box so it saves. Select this one and do the same thing again. Just reduce the size, recenter. That way, when we go to create our report for our deliverable, the client can just see the points of interest that we have selected. So that's that one picture. The other thing about this roof is, we're looking for damaged tiles. So as we start going through pictures, we start briefly looking and see if there's any damaged tiles. Typically on peak line and roof lines, any type of visual inspection you're doing, you're just looking at each image. So right here is something pretty important for insurance purposes. If this were to fall off and strike a person in the head, it could result in death. So it's very incumbent upon the property owner to go in and fix this. So we need to definitely annotate that. So again, we're going to select our annotation tool, create the annotation. Again, I've already made the quick select key here, so it's broken tile. And since we know that's dangerous, we're going to go ahead and name it a level or give it a level 5 severity. Create the annotation. Now that's there. I can copy this for other images that we might find. There it is again. All right. So looking at peak lines here or ridge lines, I'm going to zoom in further into this screen. The cool thing about ConnexiCore Cloud is that it actually reanimates the pixels to give you a clearer picture, even through the zoom range, the factory zoom range of the camera. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit further. We can get some really good detail on this and see exactly what's going on. So you have a fracture tile. You actually have a tile that's displaced some of its shape. So that no telling where that is. Could be down the ridge line here. Yep, there's one right there. So you can see that's breaking apart. So all this stuff is bad and if it hits someone. So we're just going to go ahead and annotate this area right here. Center it up a little bit. Broken tile, level 5 severity, select. All right. So this process is repeated over and over again throughout the entire inspection. Once you're done and you need to present your annotations to your client, you can do that in 2 means. The first mean is a PDF document. However, to create a PDF document that makes sense, you need to select all issues with the filter tag option here. And that's what all issues are. So when we generate the report, they'll compile the data, all the metadata, the images, and then all the annotations to put them respective to their main picture. So the other things that we do, like I mentioned, we do several different verticals. So there's cell towers that we can look at. The process is the same for really generally any visual inspection. You gather many images, and they can be drone-based images or they can be ground-based images. And I mentioned ground-based images because these pictures right here that you see with the azimuth with the mark through it, these are non-GPS photos. So there's no GPS metadata associated with these photos because they're handheld photos with a regular camera or DSLR style camera. However, when you put them into the cloud, into ConnexiCore Cloud, you can still see that you have the same functionality with these images as well, and they still look great on our system. So I'm going to center this, and looking at this particular image, the cables come out here, and there is a wire mesh. This wire mesh has gaps in it, which could allow wildlife to get in and create a home. So we're going to select that, call it a point of interest, go to cell tower, and mesh wire displaced, point of interest, create annotation. So again, this process is repeated over and over again. However, there's something I do want to show you with drone-based images and cell tower inspections, is you have the ability to zoom in and see serial numbers. I'll find the image. Serial numbers, rusted bolts, what have you. So obviously there's a warning label there that you can see. If you come over here to the right-hand side, you can see there's a rusted, which is supposed to be stainless steel bolt, but it is rusted. So that could be a failure point at some point in time. So we'll select that, annotate it. Select annotation, cell tower, rusted bolts, point of interest, create. Okay. Copy it again. It's already there. Good deal. There's casings at the top of the tower that you probably can't see from the ground, but because we're using drone inspections, we can definitely see it. So that's something that the provider needs to know, or the client needs to know, so they can go out and replace that or repair it so it doesn't cause problems later. You can look at terminate or ends on the cable, see if there's any bad terminations. So your typical, cell tower inspection stuff, is what you're looking for, and you can do that as well. So, not to beat a dead horse here, but we can all understand that the importance of going through each image and looking for problems that either the client has provided a checklist for, or what have you, can easily be done within our software. The other thing we're doing is construction management. So progress construction. This is a site that we're doing down in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is a Google Map overlay. So with map overlays, your base, subscription, if you will, comes with Google Maps and ArcGIS. So this is a Google Map overlay here. You can zoom in and see there's some decent detail in it, but no one knows. I could tell you that this specific site, this map right here, wasn't taken or was taken in June of this year, and this site has drastically changed since then. So a good point to remember is that when we go to sites like this, we fly Ortho Mosaic missions. So just to show you what that looks like here, we'll zoom in, deselect those. So I want to turn off Google Maps. Okay, so that's our base layer map. I'm going to turn Google back on. This was the site in August. It was flown with drone deploy. Okay, so you can see that's very, very much different than what it was on Google. This was September. And this was the most recent structure map in December. Now, what I'm going to show you now is how to upload a Ortho Mosaic housed on Drone Deploy into the software. So obviously, I've already taken the pleasure, if you will, of logging into Drone Deploy. This is the Ortho Mosaic that I created for the December flight. We'll go down here to the bottom where it says Leaflet Tile Layer app, or Leaflet Tile Layer. I'm going to generate a URL. I'm going to copy the URL, go back to ConnexiCore Cloud. I'm going to place the URL in the box right there. I'm going to name it. December 2018 site, add. And now the entire Ortho Mosaic is housed into ConnexiCore Cloud. Now you can also upload CAD drawings. So if you are doing solar inspections and you have an electronic CAD that you have done, you can house that in the Mapbox or some other software to generate a URL-based XYZ or TMS scheme coordinate link, and you can upload that into ConnexiCore Cloud as well. So you can see here any information that you want to question later, or try to remember, what specific tab was, or have a guide, if you will. If there's a question mark, it'll provide that information for you. So obviously, Mapbox, Drone Deploy, Mango Maps are map housing sites or Ortho Mosaic generating sites, and you can get these links respective to those sites with them. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a report. Bear with me one moment here. Frank, do we have any questions while I'm trying to get this report to pull up?
Yes, we do, actually. So somebody asked, I work for a construction company and would like to subscribe to ConnexiCore Cloud, but can I give my client access to review projects as well?
So the answer is yes, you can. In order to do that, you have to go to your respective company within our system. So to go there, you go to Access Management, and under Company Management, you can create a new company. So we'll create a new company called XYZ Company, okay? And under XYZ Company, we give it a parent company name, which if it's your company, so say your ABC Company, then you place the new company under ABC Company, and then give it an expiration date. If they're subscribing to you, you give it an expiration date if you want. If not, then don't worry about putting anything in there, and then hit create. Now, obviously, I'm not going to create this one because I just don't want to add it to our system, but you can do that. Now, to add users under there, you go to User Management, Create New, enter the respective information, and then make sure you put them as belonging to the new company that you created. Okay, it's pretty easy to understand that, or it's pretty easy once you get in to do it. And if you need any help, obviously we're here to help you to do that. Another thing to remember too is that if you are subscribing to ConnexiCore Cloud as a end user or as a company user, if you will, then you can assign people that you have in your system or in your specific company user roles. Obviously, administrator has access to everything. Inspector has access to from managed inspections down. Supervisor can view any sub-company that you create and write, read, and download data. A user can do just write, read, and download, and then a guest can do just read data. So another thing that's been commonly asked too is how do you share an inspection without having someone log in? And that's pretty easy and straightforward to do. The one thing you have to remember though is that if you give someone access to an account under, say, an administrator name, then they can still log in and do a lot of different things under the system. Make sure that you create a faux email address or faux user. So you see right here, I have guest view, guest@ConnexiCore.com. They're under the company ConnexiCore. Their role is guest. So all they can do is just read the data. So all they can do is just see it. They can't add anything. They can't subtract. They can't create annotations or anything. And what that looks like when you do an inspection, we'll go here to Balfour Beatty. We'll create an embedded link, and we'll assign guest view. We'll give an expiration of tomorrow. We'll generate. I'll select that. And this is the embedded link view. So obviously you see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's no user information or anything. They can go in and see it and still be able to navigate and go through, see different maps, and what have you. whoops, I apologize, they cannot click on that. So that's what guest view looks like. So if you want your user to be able to select a map site, then you have to give them user view, not guest view. So basically the way you have it set when you send it to them is the way they're going to see it, because they can't select anything else as a guest. Now as a user they can. So that's a good example of, or a good, accidental example of what that looks like. So if you have any questions on that, please ask, and I'll walk you through that again. Okay, so I'm going to delete it, that way it's not there anymore, just deselect, and now we're out of it. So any image that you take also has metadata information, so date and time it was taken, date and time it was uploaded, altitude. So if you're not a meter fan or a metric fan, you can certainly change that to feet. So this picture was taken at 35.76 feet relative to where the drone took off. The heading of the camera is 282.1 degrees, which means that's the direction the camera was facing when it took the picture. Many user tags that were assigned to it. The thing with user tags, so if you're doing a cell tower inspection or a solar field inspection, a windmill inspection, really anything that you need to have filtering ability, then you can upload via folders. And to do that, I'm going to walk you through it. Since my internet's being slow, I'm not going to upload anything, but I just want to show you. Give me 1 second here, folks.
And Curtis, maybe we can show them a ConnexiCore report that's already been generated. That's the point, yeah.
Yep. So when I go to upload images, obviously you see I have them separated here: drone deploy, progress images, and static images. If I wanted to upload just the progress images, then I'd hit upload. And I know there's 14 pictures in this particular folder. So when I hit upload, it's going to generate this box. This box tells me that 14 images are going to be given the user tag 12/2018 prog images. And if I hit start upload, then it'll start uploading those images. Now, what that does is when you filter these images, you can say, I want to do just the progress images for that time. So here's your 14 images here. But say I wanted to filter these options for, progress images that has loose plastic. So when I do that, I can either do the and loose plastic, or I can do the or loose plastic. So if you have several different annotation types, you can do or if you have one specific one you're looking for, or one specific issue, then you can do the and that will filter it to there, and there's that annotation with loose plastic. Okay. So there's your filtering options. You can get as specific as you want to, or as general as you want to. It's entirely up to you, or your client, wishes. So another thing, yeah.
We have a couple questions that might tie into that. Are you available if we open up that question, or do you want to wait till the end?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we can answer while I'm doing this.
Well, we have a couple of questions relative to how the images are analyzed. So we have a question from Derek regarding any AI tools that will analyze images for issues, for example, moss or broken tiles versus manual elevation.
So to answer that first question is, yes, there is AI. There's two types of AI, right? There's IBM Watson, or there's another AI company that is used to annotate other more specific stuff. It's really your choice on what you want. Obviously, if you do AI inspection or have AI look at it, then there's an additional fee for that. There's also human intelligence. But just to clarify on the AI, any type of verticals, if you will, that we have done numerous of, that we can train our AI to. So typically it takes about 1,000 images to train an AI to be to have between a 95 and 99% probability of that issue being there. It takes about 1,000 images. So for example, if we're looking at a power line inspection, then we can look at this issue here. So we'll do power line, and say we're looking for corrosion on these lines. which you can see in the image here. It will take 1,000 of these images for the AI to be trained respectively, okay? And that could be cracks in pavement, that can be, you know, this corrosion here, that can be broken insulators, anything that you can think of, okay? So there is AI available. Does that answer your question, I hope?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually had a question, and it looks like it's dovetailing perfectly here. Do we have any use case examples of power grid or energy and power line scenarios? So you're right on it. So maybe you can go a little bit more in depth on some of the anomalies you could pick up on a traditional power grid.
Definitely. So power line inspections, you know, these structures are in the air. They have power going through them, so they're susceptible to numerous things, right? So they're susceptible to lightning strikes, to animals being stuck in them, being electrocuted and just being stuck, causing issues, cracked insulators, et cetera, et cetera. So as you see in this image here, I've already annotated a spot. This is your typical image that most companies receive. So if I click on the annotation box, you'll see that there's been a lightning strike right here, very near the anti-vibration bar. So this is something that needs to be looked at and assessed by the power company itself. I know when I do these types of inspections, I'm not the resident expert, they are, so I really hesitate on giving a severity level unless it's blatantly obvious that there's something seriously wrong, like a human being being stuck in the power line. You know, that'd be a level 5 severity. However, because, you know, they need to look at this, I just name it I name it what it is, and then I call it a point of interest, and then they can go in and look at it later. Other things that you can see as well is the corona rings here. You know, you could look and see if there's any damage to them. This one right here looks slightly bent, and maybe some wear at the joint mark here. So we can definitely annotate that really quickly. Select annotation type, power lines. We'll just call it we'll just call it other. Anytime we do other, that's where you can write in the comment section. Appears coronal ring is loose. Hit enter to put the comment there, and then hit point of interest and create annotation. So now that's there. Another cool thing about our software is that because of the quality of images that are uploaded, so obviously if you upload a 8 megapixel image, it's not going to be as clear as a 24 megapixel image or a 50 megapixel phase 1 image. But with this, it's your typical camera. I think this is 24 megapixels, and we still have a great zoom range to go in and actually look at and see part numbers. See this bell type. There is a part number there, but it's really great to go in and identify part numbers and what have you. So any issues with lines, you can go in and look at. Come down here to these insulators. You know, rusted bolts or connection points that are rusted. Obviously, you know, if they're rust on them, they need to be annotated so they can go in, either decide to change them, or they might have to take the line out of service to do this with. But there's a lot of rust on these bells and on these insulators. So there's carter pins there. If they fail, then the line drops, etc. So you can see a lot of great detail when you're doing power line inspections.
One question, Curtis, that we did have come in, and I think this relates to the geotagging capability. The question is, if a handheld camera generates GPS metadata, will that data then be shown after upload?
Yes, sir, it will. So, like, if you take iPhone pictures, for example, now granted, iPhones or phones in general aren't as accurate as, say, a drone is, because a drone takes typically takes between 9 to 15 satellites and to get its GPS lock. And a cell phone is more based off the triangulation of cell towers. However, it does capture metadata, and it can, if there's metadata available, it does upload with it as well. Now, there are some devices that separate their metadata between images. I know DJI attaches their metadata onto the image, so when you download the image, all that metadata is there. However, there are some that use EXIF files, EXIF files. And if you upload them into Scopito, it will automatically be placed onto that respective image, and that metadata will still be there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said earlier, guys and gals, this, you know, doing visual inspections with our software is repetitive. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here, but, you know, you start an image, you start looking right to left, side to side, looking at a checklist, and creating annotations off of what your checklist have, or what, you know, what has been identified as issues that are being looked for. So, you know, it's really a, you know, it's what you want to do here. Okay. So, and it's any type of vertical as well. It's solar panels, roofs, power lines, infrastructure. Like this one right here is of a crane, looking for wear on the crane. You can see right here where the paint is worn and it's starting to rust. That was something that the client wanted to identify, so it's very identifiable. And the Ortho Mosaic overlay here, it's a pretty large Ortho Mosaic, but it, you know, it shows real-time view of what this construction site looks like when they're building this pier. And while we're in here, Glenn, you got any more questions while I pull this up, bud?
Yeah, actually, there is one, but this might tie into our telepresence. The question is can imagery be streamed real time to the client during the flight?
Now, there's some people that prefer video, and we have a solution for that. But for this use case, you know, you're generating reports based off the images that you collect and annotate, so the user can see exactly where the problem is, and the client can see exactly where the problem is, and identify what they need to logistically and financially to fix any said issues that are found via our inspections, or your inspections rather.
Yep, understood, and that makes perfect sense. What is one other quick question is, what is the recommended bandwidth for connectivity to the cloud platform? Do we have a minimum amount of bandwidth we need?
No, it's just, I mean, if you're uploading images, your upload speed is your Achilles heel, if you will. You know, today, you know, it's not downloading good for me because my internet is not that great. But if you're on fiber, then, you know, you can upload. Typically, it takes about 0.8 seconds to upload into our cloud. One image. So if you have 1,000 images, then, you know, you're looking between 10-15 minutes to upload 1,000 images. However, that's again based off of your connectivity. So we don't really have a per se minimum or a maximum speed that you must have. It's really based off of your internet connectivity. What I pulled up here is an example report. So this is a cell tower here that you see with the Google Map overlay. These are your annotations that you see here. So unique identifier, damaged comments here, you know, and your annotations are here. This is actually the one that we looked at earlier, but it's just from another company as well. But here's your metadata information. So the name of your file, the date and time it was taken, any GPS position that's available, altitude, heading, and the type of camera. So obviously you can see that this camera here is a handheld Canon EOS camera. So it doesn't have any GPS information. However, if you want to see a drone image with GPS information, then that's right here. So date and time taken, again, all this metadata information is the same. And I can actually click on this Google Maps link, and it will pull up Google Maps. You probably can't see it because I'm just sharing that report, but it does pull up Google Maps, and I'll show you here in a moment. But so this right here, it shows you the main image, and then it shows you the cropped annotation view of what that main image is showing. And then this clickable link here will take you to that inspection, if the person clicking it has a username and password. So again, this process is repeated over and over again. We are going to be updating our reports here soon for specific verticals. So like windmills are going to have a different style of report. And soon we will have the plan here is soon to have something different for cell tower inspections. So for your different vertical styles, we'll have some variations of reports. Still the same format as far as main image and then cropped images, but for like windmills, you'll have a blade view and it'll actually show you where the annotation is on the specific blade itself. So it's something to look forward to. It's just not quite to product yet. So that's the report. Let me share my other screen again.
Curtis, we have another question.
Yes,
Someone's asking if they subscribe to a full-blown license on ConnexiCore Cloud, can they generate reports with their own logo to be able to give to their clients?
So if you white label with ConnexiCore Cloud, basically, the answer is yes. You can have your own logo, and actually, you can. The answer is yes, you can.
Okay.
All right. So that's what the clickable link that are the Google icon that I selected. This is where that drone picture was taken. I can zoom in a little bit, and obviously I got it in 3D mode right now. But if I bring it back north, you can see the shadow for the tower on Google Maps. So it's just another iteration of the diverse functionality of our software. All right. Let's see. So I talked about access management and company management. Talked about annotation management, so you can create new root types here. So if you're doing something totally other than what we have listed here, you create the root type there, hit add, and that will generate it down here at the bottom. And if you want to create a sub annotation under that, then you click the add function here, type it in, and you have a new annotation type. If you're ever curious about how many images you have on your account, you can see that there, how many inspections, users, and companies, all that information is here. Change your password. It's under profile. Your new password can be there, and then you re-enter it. And then if you want to upload a profile picture like I have here, you just drop it right there, hit upload profile image, and you have your own profile image.
We have a couple that have been typed in. We have one from Derek relative, and this goes back to the imaging. He asks, can the platform, in the case of a cell tower inspection, can the platform deduce antenna alignment vertical and horizontal?
With AI support, it can.
Okay.
Yeah, our new AI company has done some pretty amazing things as far as measurements and angular, what it looks like at an angle, or what the angular alignment is of an antenna. They're doing some pretty awesome stuff. IBM Watson just can't really compete with that. And understand this too. Our AI platform, we don't really push AI unless we're confident that we can have a 99% probability of finding an issue. So if we're looking for broken insulators, for example, our platform or our AI algorithm can find a broken insulator 99% of the time with a 99% probability that it's a cracked insulator. So the new company that we're working with, just to do our AI support, they're showing us that they can do that as well. So that's why we choose to work with them.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I think we just have one other question, I think, in the queue. Actually, a couple of questions coming in. Let's see. Let me just move to my window here, and I'll get this. So we had one for the construction company that was answered, Frank, I believe. Okay. One question comes in is, will the ConnexiCore Cloud work with any UAS platform or drone platform?
Yes. It doesn't matter the platform that you take. Just understand that some platforms might separate your metadata out into an XIF subfile versus being attached to the image. But it doesn't matter which. So try not to think of ConnexiCore Cloud as drone specific. Just think of it as image specific. You can upload JPEGs, you can upload KML files, you can upload CAD drawings or CAD map overlays. So it's not really drone specific, it's industry. It's any image that you want to upload basically. And the platform does support phase 1 images that are large. However, there's some special considerations for those. But yes, it does support any image and any platform, handheld or drone.
And I think I have the answer to this next one, which I believe is a yes, but I'm going to defer this one to Frank. Question comes in: have you been able to obtain FAA waivers for certain operations, for example, public safety operations? And I think Curtis and Frank, you guys will be able to jump all over that.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, as a drone service, we have FAA waivers all over the country. Not really relevant to ConnexiCore Cloud because this is more of an inspection repository platform. But the answer to that is yes. We have quite a few. In fact, Curtis is responsible for quite a few areas in North Carolina, Virginia. Yes.
We'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for joining today. We realize your time is valuable, and we really certainly appreciate you taking time out of your lunch hour to join ConnexiCore and, as Frank mentioned, our first webinar series.